3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA, go SpaceX, Godspeed, Spot and Tag.
America has launched. And so rises a new era of American spaceflight, and with it the ambitions of a new generation continuing the dream.
To the moon! What's up, guys? I'm excited today because ARKX finally came out today. If you're watching this video, I'll probably have this posted tomorrow. So it wasn't today, it was yesterday. But anyhow, on March 30th, Cathie Woods opens up ARKX for us awesome people that love Cathie Woods and Elon and that entire crew. No, but seriously, Cathie Woods is amazing. She's a visionary. She reminds me of Elon because the way they think is different. And that's why I'm an investor of a lot of the ARK investments. Now, she gets a lot of shade. Well, let me take it back. Every once in a while, she gets a lot of shade from certain people that are hating on her and her investment strategies and her outlook for the future, but not me. Like, I see a visionary and I see someone that knows what they're talking about as far as where the future goes with technology. And ARKX is exactly that. My thoughts on space exploration, and if you're not familiar with ARKX, I'm gonna go over it real quick, but my thoughts real quick on just general space exploration is I wanna be an early investor. I wanna be in on the ground floor of some of these companies, and especially ETFs that are well-rounded holding companies for a lot of these other companies that are gonna be crucial to the future of space exploration, especially in the private sector. More and more people are interested in space and space exploration. So there's a lot of opportunity there. So what I want to do today, if you're not familiar with ARKX, I want to go over it real quick with you guys, just to give you an idea and whether or not you might be interested in investing. I sure am, for sure. Not for a quick, get rich quick type thing, because that's not my strategy, but it's for the long haul. I plan to invest for the long term, hold 10, 20, 30 years. But I'm a big believer in ARK, definitely in ARKX. So let's take a look. ARKX, Space Exploration and Innovation ETF. So ARK launches on March 30th, 2021. Let's look at the fund description real quick. ARK Space Exploration and Innovation ETF Fund. Investment objective is the long-term growth of capital. Yes, yes, and yes. ARKX is an actively managed exchange-traded fund ETF that will invest under normal circumstances primarily at least 80% of its assets in domestic and foreign equity securities of companies that are engaged in the fund's investment theme of space exploration and innovation. The advisor defines the space exploration as leading, enabling, or benefiting from technology-enabled products and or services that occur beyond the surface of the Earth. So here's their basic objective. It's Orbital Aerospace Companies, Suborbital Aerospace Companies, Enabling Technologies Companies, and Aerospace Beneficiary Companies. And if you scroll down here, there's a lot of great information. If you're not familiar with ARK or ARK Invest, you can just go to their website and you can look at each of their different ETFs. But there's a lot of great information. Of course, there's like no information here because today was the first day. Let's see here, nothing there, but here's their top holdings. And I want to go over some of their top holdings with you guys because I think it's pretty interesting and how this fund is organized, specifically the top three. But you'll see here Trimble, the 3D printing ETF, which is owned by ARK, Kratos Defense and Security, L3 Harris Technologies, JD.com, Komatsu, Lockheed Martin, etc., etc. So Boeing. So and you could actually see the entire. We'll go ahead and see the entire top holdings. I'm sorry, the entire holdings here. It's pretty interesting because you see some companies like Deere Company, you see Amazon in here, you see Alphabet in here. Let's see, here's some other ones. Alibaba is on there. Honeywell, Netflix is on here. You see Workhorse Group. So you can definitely see the strategy here is that she still wants to diversify. She still wants to be smart when it comes to the fund and have some investments in there that will touch aerospace, but it's, you know, still diversified. And people like that. You know, I like that. I like the fact that she spreads her companies and what she invests in, because equally amongst all her other ETFs, because if you see other ETFs, she holds a lot of these companies as well. Excuse me. See, like Nvidia's on there too. I don't know if I mentioned Amazon, but Amazon's in here. But the top 3 holdings, and that's really the most important. So not top 3, but the top holdings, right? The biggest percentages of the ETFs is important. So let's look at Trimble. Trimble, man, it had a good day today. I'm sure because of the announcement. But 5 years, of course, after 2020, it's just shot up. And it's definitely something that's on a lot of people's mind. It's interesting what Trimble does. They are, let's see here. I looked at Wikipedia. By the way, I'm not too familiar with Trimble. I've heard of them before. Kathy Woods has talked about. Trimble's a Sunnyvale, California-based hardware and software service technology company. Trimble services global industries in agriculture, building and construction, geospatial, natural resources and utilities, governments, transportation, and others. It's just interesting that that's their top holdings. I need to do some more digging in Trimble, but from the layer, from the top surface, it seems like is basically like engineering of communities and organizations. And so it's just interesting to me that Trimble's on here because the only thing I can think of, connecting it to space exploration is the idea of having them create these like communities, maybe out in space in these big infrastructures that they plan to do in the future. That's my guess, but it's also could be like, like building agriculture out in space. I don't know. There's still much to learn, but that's their top holdings. The next one we'll look at, here we go, where am I going here, is the 3D printing ETF. This was pretty interesting. So the 3D printing ETF is actually owned by ARK, Kathy Woods' company, 3D printing ETF. And of course, it's just holds a bunch of, here's the 3D printing ETF, a bunch of companies that focus on 3D printing. It's a 3D printing seeks to provide investment results that closely correspond before fees and expenses to the performance of the total 3D printing index, which is designed to track the price movements of stocks, companies involved in the 3D printing industry. And I thought it was pretty interesting because this one correlates, I think, for me, more closely to space exploration, because 3D printing is how NASA will use additive manufacturing. It's pretty cool because if you read this article that, let's see here. So to lighten the load and reduce costs, NASA is using the ISS as a test bed to demonstrate a way of manufacturing the necessary parts in space, 3D printing. So that's pretty cool. So that makes sense to be out in space, and they need these parts, and they need to do some engineering, and they need to make up some of these processes and systems and things that they need to do out in space on the spot. And that's genius. This makes sense why this would be on the list. Kratos Defense and Security, KTOS, KTOS, that's the ticker. I don't know much about this company. All I know is that they, right here, specialize in direct energy weapons, unmanned systems, satellite communications, cybersecurity warfare, microwave electronics, missile defense training. So, I mean, that definitely applies to space exploration. And so it just makes sense that that's part of it. But that's interesting to me that that's the top 3 right here. They own a big chunk of the weight of the ETF. But anyways, that's really interesting. I'm definitely an investor. Oh, here's some information. of Kratos Kratos Defense and Security. I want to keep saying secretary for some reason, which is the third biggest holding in the new ETF portfolio. Kratos has been a key player in advancing specific technologies relating to unmanned systems, satellite communications, combat systems. This space ride won't cost you as much as a seat in the SpaceX Dragon, which exchange trade fund, blah, blah. Oh, this is just talking about the ARK ETF. But that's it. I mean, it's do your own research, do your own due diligence. You can go out to ARK Invest, ARK-funds.com, and check them out. I'm excited because I've been waiting for this one to come out. Again, this is a long play for me. This is something I probably will dollar cost average for the next 5 to 10 years in my long-term portfolio. I really do think it's at the ground level. I mean, it just opened up right now. Let me check that out actually. ARKX, I think it opened up at $20. You know, it jumped up from, you know, it opened up at, I see here, $20.30, $20.30. So I mean, it just stayed pretty even all day. So that's it, guys. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. I hope you found this at least informative. Appreciate you following and subscribing and all that good stuff. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.